Welcome to my class, student. It's class 8 English grammar. We are doing chapter 3 clauses, and this is session 1 and the introductory part of clauses. In this session you will come to know what are the clauses and what are the types of clauses. What are the clauses? Let me tell you. Clause is a short sentence, a sentence which has a subject and predicate. It is opposite of phrases. What are the phrases? Phrases are just a set of words which gives meaning to a sentence when added to it. Otherwise, it is just a set of words. But clauses has a meaning. It has a subject and predicate. Let's start with clauses. First, the definition. Such a group of words which forms part of a sentence and contains a subject and a predicate is called a clause. Just now I have explained. A clause has a meaning of its own, right? It forms part of a larger sentence. Why? Because it is a part of a sentence. That means a sentence itself is a very large one and this is a part of that sentence. A clause is therefore the smallest unit of a sentence, right? So these are the things. Let me revise once again. A clause is a group of words which forms part of a sentence having a subject and predicate. It has a meaning of its own. It forms part of a larger sentence and it is therefore the smallest unit of a sentence. Now, how can we say subject plus verb is equal to complete thought? Example, Michael bought a new computer. See? This is one sentence or one clause. Michael bought a new computer. What is the subject here? Michael. And what is the verb? Bought. And this is the thing what it bought. It bought a new computer. Now Michael bought a new computer but he still has the old one. Now here you see there is a verb. What I have said, clause is a part of a sentence. But here you are saying, seeing there is a one clause, one sentence, that is the smaller one. But here you are seeing two clauses. See here. Michael bought a new computer. That is the one clause. And next, he still has the old one. He still has the old one. You are seeing subject he, verb has, and now here you are seeing subject and bought. Subject and verb, subject and verb. So, it's giving a complete thought. Michael bought a new computer and this is connected by but, right? But he still has the old one. That means two clauses we have connected it with but. That is a conjunction. So, in this way we can make a larger sentence by connecting clauses together. The basic knowledge of clauses gives us what? Why it is very important to learn about the clauses. A tremendous power to construct sentences. If you write in a brief way, whatever your thinking is, your sentence gets the power. It becomes very interesting and people may say that you have written in a very skilled way. So, a tremendous power to construct sentences. Second, to express our thoughts in various forms. With comma, with but, we can express our thoughts, all the thoughts we can express by writing clauses. To introduce style and freshness in our writing. So, when we add many clauses with punctuation marks, with conjunctions, so what happens? It gives the style. We can introduce style to our writing and it looks very fresh. So clauses are very important to learn. There are two main types of clauses. Now we are coming to the types of clauses. Two main types. What are those? Independent clauses An independent clause could be a sentence by itself or could be combined with other clauses. Just as in the previous slide I have shown you, there are two clauses, those were independent clauses and they were joined by a but. So in the same way, this is called independent clauses. We should live where the climate is good. Now, the climate is good, it itself is a clause. We should live, it itself is a clause. So where the climate is good, where is the conjunction where we are joining both the clauses. Now dependent clause. It cannot stand by itself. Though it's a clause, but it cannot stand by itself. It needs to be combined with an independent clause. These are called subordinate conjunction plus subject plus verb. Subject plus verb is what? This is the clause and it gives an incomplete thought. We should live where the climate is good. Now, where the climate is good is an independent. It is a dependent clause because it is depending on the word line, on the clause we should live. So, how will we start? This is what? Subordinate conjunction. This is the subordinate conjunction plus climate plus subject plus verb. See, and it's presenting an incomplete thought. This is subordinate conjunction. This is climate is a subject and is a verb. Here what you are saying, an independent clause could be a sentence by itself. So we should live. Here what is that? We is a subject and verb should live. So this is the kind of, this is giving a complete sense. But here it's not giving a complete sense. Here it's not giving a complete sense. Now, dependent clauses can come after, before or in the middle of the independent clauses. Wherever we can write the dependent clauses because these are dependent on the independent clauses. So, there is not a set rules that you will have to place the dependent clauses before or after the independent one. Now, here there are examples. Michael now has a new computer although he still has his old one. Now dependent clause is after an independent clause. Here you are saying this is an independent clause and this is a dependent clause. This one is a dependent clause although he still has his old one, right? Now although he still has his old one, Michael now has a new computer. Now you are saying okay, it is before the independent clause. Dependent clause is before and earlier it was after. Now, how it can come in between? See, Michael, comma, although he still has his old one, now has a new computer. So, you are seeing that this is in the middle. So, with 3 examples, I have shown you how you can use the dependent clauses with the independent clauses. It can be anywhere, right? The dependent clause inside the independent clause. With the punctuation mark, we have done this. So, in this way, that's why it is said that you can give style to your writing. You can give tremendous power to your writing if you learn clauses. Now, what are the other types of clauses? First is an adjective clause. Say adjective clause is there, adverb clause is there, noun clause is there. So, this is an adjective clause. Subordinate clause is of 3 types. That those subordinate clauses that we can place before, after or in the middle of the independent clause. So, this subordinate clauses are of 3 types. First is an adjective clause. See, adjective clause. A subordinate clause that does the work of an adjective is an adjective clause. Example, I have lost the book that he gave me. So that he gave me So we can write I have lost his book, but I have lost the book that he gave me. So this is the adjective clause. So here we are seeing the book that is described like this, gave me. So here the subordinate clause that he gave me, it's a subordinate clause, as you know, subordinate clause. So this is what an adjective clause, it's working like an adjective. Second is an adverb clause. A subordinate clause that does the work of an adverb is an adverb clause. Go where you please. Now return as soon as it is 10. So this is the thing where we are using adverb clause that works as an adverb. Noun clause. A subordinate clause that does the work of a noun is the noun clause. I don't know, do not know how he did it. So how he did it, this is the subordinate clause and it's working. It's here presenting as a noun clause. That he is going to get the job is certain. Here also this is a subordinate clause and it is like a noun we have placed here, and this is called noun clause because it works like a noun. Now there are many relative clauses also. As you have seen, we have written that a relative clause will begin with a relative pronoun such as who, whom, whose, which or that. You have seen the example of all this in a subordinate clause. That book that he has given me, right? Or a relative adverb when, where or why. Where the climate is good, there also we have seen this. So these are used in a subordinate clause and give it a dependent clause. With this clause we are making the independent clause little bit dependent if we add all these things. So in this way you are seeing your writing skill is getting more interesting. Now, the patterns look like this. How does it look? Relative pronoun or adverb plus subject plus verb, and it gives an incomplete thought because this is a this is a dependent clause. See, relative pronoun, and this is the first pattern, and second pattern is relative pronoun as subject and verb and gives us incomplete thought. Now this is the pattern. First pattern is relative pronoun or adverb. You know all the relative pronoun or adverb. The list is there in the previous slide. Plus subject plus verb, and that is giving you incomplete thought. What gives you incomplete thought? Dependent clauses gives you incomplete thought. Then second pattern is relative pronoun as subject plus verb, and it gives an incomplete thought. This is the second one. Now example. First one, whom Mrs. Russell hit in the head with a chalk eraser. Whom Mrs. Russell hit in the head with a chalk eraser. So whom is a relative pronoun, Mrs. Russell is a subject, hit is a verb. Right? As this is a subordinate clause and this is what? This is a dependent clause. So the main clause is to be added. So this is what? With the relative pronoun, that the first rule this example is. Now, where he chews and rolls with great enthusiasm. Where is again relative adverb. He is a subject, chews and rolls are the verbs. This is again the second example. So here you are seeing where he is a subject and chews and rolls are the verbs. So all these are dependent clauses. So you are seeing we need one more clause to give it a meaning. And with the relative pronoun and adverb, these sentences are being made. Now, who loves pizza crust? Now, who relative pronoun and loves verb. Like subordinate clauses, relative clauses cannot stand alone as complete sentence. You are seeing or incomplete thought. Here also you are not seeing a complete thought because this is a relative clause. Now you must connect them to main clauses to finish the thought. So once we will connect it to the main clause, it will give you a proper meaning. But these are the things that gives your style, your writing a unique style. So relative clauses are like dependent clauses, and with the relative clauses we write in a very powerful way, in a very skilled way. So these are very important. Now, essential relative clauses do not require commas. Where it is essential relative clause, that doesn't require any comma. And relative clause is essential when you need the information it provides. What is that? A dog that eats too much pizza will soon develop pepperoni breath. Now, a dog that eats, here relative clause doesn't require comma, because here it is giving the information. It is giving the information of the dog. Now in that, if dog is specified, my dog Floyd, here dog is specified. Dog का हमने नाम दिया है. Who eats too much pizza? तो हमने यहाँ पे we have put 2 commas just to add the relative clause. Who eats too much pizza has developed this breath, pepperoni breath. So this is the thing that you will have to understand. Where the subject you need not to specify, you don't need to put comma, but where you need to specify your dog or whosoever is the subject, you need to put comma here. Now there is one more clause, coordinate clause. What is the coordinate clause? Clauses joined by coordinating conjunctions are coordinate clauses. So what you have learned? You have learned now adjective, adverb, noun, relative. Now this is one more clause, coordinate clause. Example, there are 2 clauses we are adding with the coordinate clause. He is very poor, he does not beg. Now with the coordinate conjunction we have added, he is very poor but he does not beg. So in this way you are seeing clauses joined by coordinating conjunctions are called coordinate clause. So you have seen subordinate clause, you are seeing coordinate clause. So what have you learned? In the clauses we have learned what is the definition of clause, what is its importance, what are the types, main types, what are the types of the subordinate clause, what are the relative clause, and what are the coordinating clause. So all these clauses, here you have got a complete idea of clauses. So whenever you go through your writing, whenever you go through any story or any composition, whatever, you will find all these clauses. Just you need to identify them. Which one is subordinate, which one is relative, which one is noun, adverb, adjective, and which one is subordinate. Dependent and independent also I have taught you. So you will see everywhere you will find these clauses. In this chapter I have shown you the clauses. In the next class I will explain you individually all type of clauses. By then, we have a good revision of this. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.